Hey guys, so I have picked up True Draco and tried to play it post photon hypernova, and it's pretty much what you'd expect. I get my shit pushed in most of the time, but I do sneak out a few wins. People don't really know what the deck does anymore, so there's always this surprise factor. I got some replays against meta, where I actually was able to grab a couple Ws. Let me know what you guys think of this deck. Do you like True Draco? Do you hate True Draco with a passion and you just came to this video to watch it lose every single game? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying it. And let's go ahead and jump on in to our deck profile. Alright, so I'm pretty much just going to build this deck from scratch. Talk through my choices as I add cards to the deck list. And then we will see how it goes. So first thing, we're just going to start with the True Draco cards. And it's going to be a little interesting. So stick with me. I'm going to play 3 Dynamite. That's not really interesting. Whoops. 3 Dynamite. I haven't played this deck since it's been back at 3 until this last couple of weeks when I've been playing it. So it's been cool. 3 Dynamite's cool. And then just 2 Ignis. I think 2 Ignis is fine. And then 1 Majesty Maiden. We don't want to overload our deck with too many monsters. So we're going to go ahead and roll with these. And then we are going to move on down to the spells. So for spells, I'm only playing a small package. We're playing 2 copies of Heritage and 1 copy of Disciples. I think now that the Ishizu cards are banned and your shufflers are not as big of a deal, you can bump up Disciples to 2 maybe. So yeah, it's up to you on that. But I'm just going to keep it at 1 because that's what I was testing before I knew what the ban list was. And then we're going to play 2 copies of True King's Return and 2 copies of APOC. I think the trap cards are a lot better than the spells, just because, you know, it gets you a pop on your opponent's turn, which is kind of nice. All right, now hot take. I cut Dragonic Diagram from my deck, and that may sound ridiculous, but it's just kind of like a search is not good enough anymore. Like, having to go -1, kind of going first, you are not getting a pop off the card that you lose. So you know, you kind of have 4 cards to play with and the field spell instead of 5 cards to play with, and it just loses you too much potential for interruption. It's just not good enough anymore to play. And to be totally honest with you, you don't get enough benefit from the destruction as you might in other decks like True King Dino or something. I'm just not feeling it, so I cut it. If you think I'm an idiot, let me know in the comments, but this has been how I've been playing so far. On to our remaining monsters. So we are going to be playing 2 copies of Inspector Border. So this is our like standard normal summon of the deck. And then we are going to be playing 3 copies of Winged Dragon of Ra Sphere Mode. So it's important that you play Sphere Mode in this deck because, as opposed to Lava Golem, because Sphere Mode is just a normal summon, but Lava Golem states that you cannot normal summon the turn you activate this, so you can't even normal summon by your own True Draco's effects. Whereas for Sphere Mode, you can Sphere Mode them and then tribute summon True Draco monsters using the spell card effects or trap card effects. So yeah, and then the last monster card we are playing is 1 copy of Ecclesia because we are playing a Dogmatica package. So we're going to be playing 1 Ecclesia, 3 copies of Nadir's Servant, and then just 2 copies of Dogmatica Punishment, and that's our whole Dogmatica package. And then on to our consistency cards, we are going to be playing pots. So we'll start with 3 copies of Extrav. I think that's totally fine. You have the extra deck space. We just need to get as much card advantage as possible. So I think Extrav is better than Prosperity in this case. And then we're playing also 2 copies of Pot of Duality. So that's at 29 cards and is looking pretty good. Now let's move on to some of the trap cards. So we're going to be playing 3 copies of There Can Be Only One. Pretty much it's the best floodgate for this deck, I feel like, because you can play Border plus a Draco. You can play Ecclesia plus a Draco, for example, or Ecclesia and a Border. It just lets you actually use all of your monsters, and that's fine. You can play Rivalry. I actually was siding Rivalry. So I guess we can just chuck that down in the side for now, but yeah. Now we're going to be talking about a Photon Hypernova card, which is Waybridge. So, Waybridge has been phenomenal for me. You normally only have one monster. You can usually, they'll usually clear it and have a board, and then Waybridge will be able to reduce their board down to one monster. Again, I think it's been fantastic in this kind of deck, in this like really slow-paced deck, and I definitely don't regret playing this card at all. We're going to be playing 2 copies of one of my favorite continuous traps in the game, which is Crackdown. It's just an interruption that can also serve as tribute fodder. I was finding that I was not having enough tribute fodder for my Draco monsters, so I just wanted to have the Crackdown as well. Plus, you can like overlay, I don't know, random stuff if you steal like Xyz monsters or whatever. I don't know. You don't really do that too much because you can't attack and make Zeus with it, unfortunately. But yeah, it's just an idea. But I really liked having Crackdown. And then our last card is going to be Waterfall of the Dragon Souls. So this card either searches you a Draco, or if you open too many Dracos, you can discard one to draw 2, basically. It also lets you dodge some effects. For example, that happened a couple times I was testing. You have a Draco monster on board, and they like Veiler or Impermit, you can just waterfall it away. I also got evenly matched with 2 Dracos and a waterfall set, so I just pretty much tributed one of the Dracos to draw 2, and then evenly resolved it, and I just had to banish the already activated waterfall. So that was kind of neat. Anyways, onto the extra deck. So it's going to be pretty simple. For some Link monsters, we're only just going to be playing 2 copies of Phoenix and 1 copy of Unicorn. These were the last 3 monsters I put in my deck, to be honest, so I just wanted to have some kind of Link fodder to get rid of stuff I stole with Crackdown, because that's, pretty much all we can do with it. You can also tribute summon over it, but that doesn't always come up, so I just wanted to have a way to link off stolen monster. And then a lot of the other stuff is going to be Nether Servant targets, so we have 3 copies of Entis, 3 copies of Garura, and then 2 copies of a new card from Photon Hypernova, Tri-Brigade Arms Bucephalus. So pretty much this is for Dogmatica Punishment. You can target something up to 3,500 attack, pop it because this is, 3,500 attack. The Tri-Brigade goes to the graveyard, and then you can send a beast, Wing Beast or Beast Warrior from your extra deck to the grave. So you are going to send Garura. So instead of being limited to sending Garura off punishment only if they have 1,500 or less attack, you can just get over anything with 3,500 or more attack and then send Garura after. And we can actually probably just play 3 of this because we just don't want to banish both of them off of an Extrav and then need it later on. And then you can fill up the last 3 spots of your extra deck with whatever you want. You can play Zeus plus like a level 5 or like a rank 5, for example, like Volcasaurus. I guess we're not playing. We're only playing 2 5s, but yeah, I don't know. You can play whatever you feel like in this spot. I guess Baguska is an option. You can overlay like Ecclesia and Inspector Border or something, or if you crack down a level 4, you can overlay with Border or Ecclesia. So yeah, pretty much extra deck is super flexible. I just would recommend playing the 3 Entis, 3 Garura, and 3 Tri-Brigade just for your Dogmatica stuff. Oh, I was actually playing a copy of Toad, which I could send, and then that would allow me to add back a Dynamite from my graveyard to my hand because it returns any water, and Dynamite is a water. So yeah, you can just shove Toad in there, and that's fine. Again, and then the Zeuses can be whatever. We can just play 3 Toads. Yeah, and then the extra deck is pretty much whatever you want it to be. I was playing 3 copies of Evenly Matched for going second, 3 copies of Dimensional Barrier for going first, 3 copies of Solemn Judgment for going first as well, to hopefully play around Lightning Storms and Evenly Matched, and then also 3 copies of Artifact Lancia, again a counter side, 2 Evenly Matched, a side deck against Floowandereeze or Kashtira or whatever the heck matchup you're playing, where they banish a lot of stuff. So yeah, this was my deck that I was taking into online matches. Now let's go ahead and jump on into some replays where we kicked some butt with some True Draco cards. Alright, so we'll do 2 replays, just like single matches, and then we'll do 1 full match with siding against Swordsoul. But the 2 replays we'll do are Dragon Link and Kashtira, and then the match is Swordsoul again. So let's go ahead and jump on into the Dragon Link match, or the single game. So in this one, I went first. I activated Extravagance, and then pretty much went for a just normal summon Ecclesia, get punishment, but they had a Veiler for it, so I was forced to just go ahead and set my stuff. I had to send Nightmare Unicorn off of Nadir because it's kind of dead, and I couldn't send Garura because I already drew off Extrav. But anyways, I drew. I have Waterfall, True Draco, and there can be only one, and he summons Saronir here. So goes ahead, summons Tracer. I flip Tikaboo. He gets Saronir effect, but it doesn't do anything. Swings over Ecclesia with Tracer, and then sets Dragon Maid Tidying. I go ahead and play my second Nadir Servant, and this time I can activate the, Entis to pop something. So I pop the back row, normal summon Inspector Border, swing and pass, setting the same True Draco Apocalypse that he bounced, and then he pretty much just scooped there because his hand of Tracer, Druid's Worm, and Veiler are not going to do anything. So that was an easy win, pretty much. I don't know. Yeah, good stun cards. This game is against Kashtira, so I get shifted, but that's fine. So I just open Duality, search a Judgment, I believe, or maybe it was one of the Floodgates, and I just set 4 and pass. I have a Tikaboo, a Rivalry, and 2 copies of Solemn Judgment with an Ignis in hand. I didn't want to tribute over one of the Floodgates yet because I don't think Ignis would do me anything, but he goes ahead, activates Field Spell, summons Unicorn, goes Papayas, so I flip TC Boo, forces him to summon the Rise Heart, and then he goes for this Dark Arm Dragon, which would go ahead and try to pop my cards, so I'm forced to Solemn that, and he goes ahead and passes. I draw for turn, draw another Ignis, and this time I'll just tribute one of my Floodgates to get some damage in, and hope the TC Boo is enough, but he just goes ahead, summons Unicorn. I get a search, but it doesn't really matter. And then he can just pretty much go off under TC Boo. Yeah, I have a nice big beater, but so what? I do have a Judgment. I hit his second Dark Armed. He goes ahead, activates Field Spell, summons Fenrir, and then classic Kashtira form. Just swings over my beater, banishes my Floodgate, and then he's free to combo off. And then I pretty much just scoop here at some point. I believe he has Shangri-La, and it can't be destroyed by card effects, and pretty much all of my cards, all of my outs to monsters destroy. So it was pretty hopeless. So yeah, even drawing double Judgment, double Floodgate against Cash, I got absolutely blown out of the water. And now let's go ahead into our third and final replay. Actually, it's going to be 2 replays because it's a match, but the first one is against is against Swordsoul. Let me swap over here. Now this guy, I don't think is like the best Swordsoul player. He definitely already misplayed once, but nonetheless, I'm playing True Draco, so I'm allowed a little bit of handicap here. He's just doing Swordsoul stuff, goes into Chi-Shao. I obviously opened double sphere mode, so I'm hoping he leaves 3 monsters on board, and I'm hoping he leaves 4 monsters on board so I can leave the Monk, and then special summon Ecclesia after summoning the sphere mode, and that's exactly what he does. He goes for the double Swordsoul synchro play, and pretty much just lets me sphere mode over that. I special summon Ecclesia, which gets ashed, which kind of sucks because I wanted a punishment at least for 1 interruption, but nonetheless, yeah, I swing over the Monk, but he has Shathana in grave, which I kind of forgot about. So he's able to pop my Ecclesia, but I get the sphere mode back because his hand is dead. He has Mo Yi with no reveal. I Extrav, he ashes, so I go Duality, and pretty much I need to pick up some kind of interruption, and I just go for the Waterfall just so I can draw into more cards. I summon Dynamite. use it off of Ecclesia, and then I have my Apocalypse to let me tribute summon the Ignis in my hand and pop the Taya before it can use effect. He goes evenly matched, and this is where I waterfall away one of my cards anyways to get the draws, and then evenly just resolves by banishing the trap card I already used, and he has nothing left. So that was a nice easy game one. Even without drawing a whole bunch of traps, I was able to beat Swordsoul fairly handily. And then we went into game two after siding. For some reason, again, this guy went first but sided in all of his evenly matched, which I guess is fair. I'm playing Draco, so sometimes you'll be able to resolve evenly matched turn 3 anyways. But he goes for the Chi play, and I'm just hoping he plays into Nib or plays into Sphere mode, and it's looking good for me here. He goes ahead, goes for the double synchro play, and then I go ahead and nib his board away, and for some reason he decides to Vishuda my nib, but it doesn't really end up mattering because I draw a second nib anyways. I go for duality here, and I'm just trying to get something to out that token because that's a 5700 token, which is a pain in the ass. I send the Entis with Nadir, and I'm pretty much forced to clear the token with that. I bait the Imperm with Ecclesia. I guess, get hit with Imperm on the Ecclesia. I kind of wanted the punishment, but that's fine. He goes for the other Ecclesia, summons Taya, and I flip TC Boo on the Taya effect. He chains Blackout, so he's going to clear the Taya and get the token, and then he's going to go for Vessel and search Chthana. Chthana will come down. He'll go ahead and get the Vishuda back, try to clear my last back row, but I'm going to search a Dynamite, and that's fine. He goes for Chi Xiao search, searches the Revival spell, and goes Battle Phase. He knows I have Nib. He went Battle Phase anyway, hoping I would drop Nib, but I knew he just searched the Monster Reborn, so if I was to Nib there, he would just Reborn out the bigger Swordsoul and get more damage in, so I let the battle phase go ahead, and then I would hope he would extend into main phase 2, which he did not. But anyways, I nib there. I nib in main phase 2. He reborns the Synchro guy, and then passes turn. And then in my turn, I just go battle phase and swing over the Synchro because nib is bigger, and he scoops right there because he had two evenly matched in hand, and then he would just have a nib token, and whatever he top decks, he's not going to be able to really do anything unless, I guess, he could have top decked Ecclesia again, but yeah, there's really no shot, and I would have been able to clear the Taya again with this trap card. So yeah, that was a match against Swordsoul. Easy W. So Draco, not totally helpless, to be honest, this format. Especially at the locals level, you can go ahead, bring this. People are not going to play around Sphere mode at locals. They're not going to, know what the True Draco cards even do if they're relatively new players. So if you enjoyed that, let me know. Leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video, and I will catch you guys in the next one for some more post-Photon Hypernova, post-February ban list videos, and deck profiles.